Hey, what's going on out there? I'm Sean Devine. Hope you all are doing well. Today I've got a new tutorial once again by request. So in case you haven't noticed, if you're new to the channel, I am reading the comments. I take your suggestions seriously. So if there's something that you're curious about that you want to learn more about in the mixing process, feel free to leave it below. But today we're going to be taking a look at how to chop and screw your vocal and how to mix that and use these certain effects, these pitch effects, to get the best results and to get this specific effect for your hip-hop vocals. So let me go ahead and play back just a little snippet of this verse here, and then I'll show you the part that we're going to be chopping and screwing here.
It's going down when we in the streets. I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I need him, I'ma hit the number. He said, John, you can hit me up. It's going down, but I ain't.
All right, so for this, what I want to do is just chop and screw this last phrase here, which is, I ain't scared, I was born to die.
I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I...
So we're just going to take that little phrase and we're going to chop it up a little bit. So first, let's do the chopping, and then we'll get into the pitch screwing or the pitch shifting. So let's just zoom in a little bit here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this track. So we're going to get a duplicate track down there. And then what I want to do is just start cutting up this phrase a little bit. So I'm going to go and we're going to do the I and I ain't scared. We just want to get that beginning syllable there for I. So let's just go ahead. Let me just copy this whole part down here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just get the I of this part. So let's solo this. Okay, so we just got that. Now what I'm going to do is put some fades on this just to make it smoother since we're chopping it. And so this is going to be our piece, our kind of puzzle piece to start creating these stutters. So I'll move them just back a little bit more here. And then what you want to start thinking about is, in terms of the beat, I just start thinking about in my head, like, how do I want to chop this up? And immediately the first thing that comes to mind, which, by the way, I did not do this in the record. I'm just doing this off of the top as I would just for example purposes. So when I'm hearing the phrase, I'm thinking it should be
I ain't scared, I was...
like on the beat. I ain't scared. So just kind of going with the beat there. So I think that's going to be like maybe 8th or 16th notes. We're going to find out, but let's just start going.
I ain't scared.
And I'm going to probably cut this a little closer.
I ain't scared.
Yeah, so let's just put it on the downbeat. You see, an important part of this is to lock in your tempo so you know where you are on the grid.
I ain't scared, I ain't scared, I ain't scared, I was...
So let's do a couple more. Oops. Let me drag this over. So let's do 4.
I ain't scared, I was born to die. I ain't scared. I ain't scared, I was I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I need him, I'ma hit the number. I ain't scared, I was born to die.
And you hear there's some commercial artists these days who will do these really fast, almost like 64th notes, something like maybe like this sort of cut. So it would be like,
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
It's a little crazier, but let's just stick with this for now. Let me just get rid of these.
I ain't scared. I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So let's work with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now go ahead and just drag these up to the main track, because for this in the demonstration, I'm going to use our pitch correction or our pitch shifting plugin directly on our vocal channel strip. So I'm just going to move those onto the same channel, and we'll get rid of that now that we've used that to make our chops. So now let's get into screwing the vocal or pitch shifting it down. I'm going to show you 3 different plugins. One stock plugin from Logic Pro X, one by Waves, and then another from Antares that I've been using more recently. And they're all going to give you a little bit different tone. So once you start kind of getting accustomed to what these different pitch plugins do, you will have some preferences in terms of the one that sounds the best to you. But I'm going to let you make that decision. I'm going to show you all 3. So the Logic Pro X one is called Pitch Shifter. So we're just going to put that on there. And the important thing is you want to put it after all of your, your usual processing like EQ, compression. You really want to mix the vocal and then do the pitch shifter. You will notice that I'm putting it before my reverb. Now, usually, not to confuse you if you're familiar with the other videos on the channel, I use a send and send to the reverb. So I usually don't do reverb directly on my vocal chain. But in this case, it's there, but we don't want to pitch shift after that. We want to put that before the reverb. So now that that's there, we've got our stock pitch shifter pulled up here. And we will see that it's set to vocals. So that should be fine. We want to go ahead and turn the mix to 100 because we want this effect to be 100% wet on the vocal. And then we're going to just start bringing this down. So let's start at like -2.
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So that's obviously not low enough for this kind of Houston sort of sound here. Let's go to maybe -7. Try that.
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So that's better.
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
Now, the other cool thing that you can do now that we've done the chops this way is we could actually automate the pitch so that on the chops, it kind of starts normal
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
and kind of comes down quickly. So let's just do that for fun here. So we're going over here to our aux, which is where our vocal chain is. And I'm just going to set the automation to touch. So what this is going to do is as I play back, whatever movements I make here on this semitone control, it's just going to go ahead and record that. And when I let go, it'll return back to 0. So let me give myself a little bit of space here. And we'll go 0.
Every time I need them.
All right, so just something a little bit different you can do. I think that's going to work just fine. So I'm going to flick it back to read. So that is the stock pitch shifter in the Logic Pro X. Again, you're going to get the best results by switching between speech and vocal and just making sure that your mix is at 100. And in terms of the shift itself, I usually go down about 7 semitones, and that will give you the effect you want. So let's move on to the next one here, which is by Waves, and it is the Ultra Pitch Shift. You're going to notice that when I pull it up, it's going to come up in dual mono. So we're going to have to make some adjustments here because right now, if I, let's just move the pitch down. So it split us up into left and right channels. And so we need to go in here and we want to just couple them. So I'm going to select couple there. And then now let's see. Okay, so this plugin is a little bit different because you have a pitch control and then you have control over the formant or kind of the throat modeling, I guess you would say, of the voice itself. So you can get some interesting results by adjusting both the formant and the pitch. So let's just go to maybe down here at -7 on the formant. We'll just put it somewhere down in here. So I'm just moving this pitch detector range a little bit in terms of frequency.
Every time I need them, mama. I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So just a little bit different sort of effect there. If you move the formant all the way over.
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So it has a little bit of an artifact or artifacts there in the sound I have noticed. You can play with it and get clean results. I use this plugin for this purpose quite a bit. But again, you got to be careful because you can start to introduce some of those sort of unpleasant artifacts in the vocal. So let's go to the last one. This is the pitch shifter that I've been using for this purpose most recently because I just feel like it sounds the best. So it is the Throat Evo by Antares. And let's go ahead and let me just show you a couple of settings on here. We're going to go ahead and move the pitch down.
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So we'll go to 7 there, -7. Now I'm going to go over here to the throat precision, and I'm going to go to extreme, which basically this is just going to make sure that we're preserving the throat modeling of the actual voice. We want it to be realistic sounding, even though it's pitched down. The second thing that I'm going to do, we're not going to mess with the breathiness. If you want to experiment with this plugin with that, you can. But the more important control here in this case is the model throat, and we want to change the length. So since we're pitching it down, we're going to stretch it out a little bit. So it's going to, again, make it sound a little more realistic. Because right now,
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
so I'm going to stretch it out.
I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So I just switched it over to baritone, and we can go maybe -5.
I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I need them.
-6.
I ain't scared, I was born to die.
So the last thing I'm going to show you is we're going to automate the pan of these chops, which just makes this effect more interesting in the mixing process. So I'm going to open up our automation. You can see that I already did it on the actual vocal channel, but I'm going to move this up to our aux track so that it is taking into effect all of our other effects here and will work properly. So I'm going to go up here and we're just going to paste it here. And so this is our pan. I'm going to move it over to the same position.
I ain't scared. I ain't scared, I was born to die. I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I need them, I'ma hit the number.
All right, so again, we've got it on the entire aux now. Let's just say you're wanting to just do that phrase. All you'd have to do is just automate the bypass of this. So let's just say it's bypass now. I'm going to put our channel back into latch mode. And then when this phrase arrives, we'll turn it on.
The sword here is a samurai. It's going down when we in the streets. I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I need them, I'ma hit the number. He said,
So then we'll turn it back off and let's play back.
the sword here is a samurai. It's going down when we in the streets. I ain't scared, I was born to die. Every time I need them, I'ma hit.
All right, y'all. So that is a look at how to chop and screw your vocals. Again, you can get in here and get very creative in terms of the details of the way that you chop up the vocal. And then I showed you 3 different plugins that are going to give you good effects, different effects. You need to experiment a little bit, figure out which one you prefer. But we took a look at the stock pitch shifter, the Waves Ultra Pitch, as well as the Antares Throat Evo for your pitch shifting and screwing of the vocal. So I hope this helps y'all. If you have any questions about chopping and screwing your vocals, feel free to leave a comment below. If you learned anything in the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Now these folks getting at me, whoa. They went and grabbed a whistle, watched the rules change. They started showing stripes, then the rules came. They try to hold me back just to